All right, we got some big sisterly advice for you today. I know a lot of people, especially if you are like early to mid 20s, tend to struggle with this big question or this big idea of like, what is my purpose? How do I find my purpose? I know that when I was college age, coming out of college, especially because that season was the same season when I was coming into the faith or coming into Christianity, this idea of purpose and what is my purpose was coming up a lot in my heart because it's I think a big conversation, especially in self-help spaces, and a lot of that self-help type of culture has infiltrated the Christian church, but that's a separate conversation. But anyway, it's a potentially valid question nonetheless of like, what is my purpose? What is the level of concern that I should have with finding or discovering my purpose? And so if you are in your early to mid 20s, here are 5 things that you can give yourself to or give your attention to if you are trying to figure out what your purpose is, or if you want to put your hands towards something to work on that will give you a sense of purpose. It doesn't have to necessarily be you had a supernatural encounter where an angel came and sat on the edge of your bed and told you, yay, even yay, I'm sending you to Russia to be an evangelist. You can live a purposeful, fruitful, and impactful life just through your own intentionality. All right, so here are 5 things that you can do or that you can focus on or give your attention to if you want to navigate purpose intentionally. 1, a mission. 2, a project. 3, a family. 4, a game. And 5, an experiment. So a mission, a project, a family, a game, or an experiment. Those are 5 things that you can devote yourself to. Not necessarily an exhaustive list, but just things that come to mind as I'm thinking about this concept. So 1, a mission. A mission is an overarching theme, issue, or perhaps a burden that you have to serve, usually an underserved or marginalized demographic or community. So our mission would be something like feeding the homeless, feeding the hungry. A mission could be something like teaching children to read, increasing the literacy rate in minority community. A mission could be something like digging wells, bringing clean water to a group of people. A mission could be shelter, housing, food, literacy, domestic violence, homophobia, anything that where you feel like a group is being mishandled, mistreated. Anybody that you can serve and make it your mission to decrease negative statistics surrounding them or increase service to those people. So that would be something like a mission. You can deem yourself a missionary to serve a certain community. And if you don't have a sense of purpose, say, okay, every weekend I'm going to feed such and such, or I'm going to read to such and such, or I'm going to, find a way to serve in my community. All right, so a mission. Or you can be intentional about a project. A project could be essentially you devote a small window of time to accomplishing a small goal. So a project could be I'm working on a graphic novel. A project could be I'm working on restoring an old school vehicle. A project could be I'm going to build myself a she shed in my backyard. A project could be I'm going to start a side hustle, a lemonade stand. A side hustle could be I'm going to learn how to sew. Something that's like a hobby or a skill that you are condensing to fit a smaller amount of time. That could be a project. That's something that you can intentionally do to foster a sense of purpose in your life. Number 3, a family. If you don't have children, it could be you fostering children if you have the capacity, the income to do so. I'm single in my 30s. I don't have children, so that could be something that looks like. I don't plan on getting knocked up anytime soon, so it might be fostering kids. It could be being a big brother or a big sister. I'm in an area now where I've recently moved to a city where my only niece and nephew live, and so I'm able to be family to them. And so getting in environments where you can participate in family could be something that gives you a sense of purpose. Serving someone that's not able to offer you any reciprocity, like in my situation, my niece is 3 and my nephew is 1. They can't do anything for me. All they can do is receive of my love, and that brings a sense of joy to me. Number 4, something that you can do to foster a sense of purpose in your life is focus on games. All of life could be considered a game, but a game for a season could be your finances. A game could be I'm giving myself to become debt free. That's the game that I'm working on. A game could be I'm giving myself to get into the best physical health of my life in the next 12 months. That could be a game. A game could be in my dating life, trying to go on dates, put myself out there, take risks, become more flirtatious, open up myself to give and find love. That could be a game, something that's more of an adventure. There are metrics around it maybe, but it's more of an adventure where you are trying to achieve a certain outcome. Similar to a project in a way, but you might not have any type of like physical object to point to at the end of a project. You might have a house, you might have a book, you might have an album, you might have something that you can point to, that you can hold on to. A game, you might just have the outcomes and the results. And then last would be an experiment. If you're looking for a sense of purpose, you can experiment with your life, with your likes. You can do things like try new restaurants. You can do things like find new music to listen to. You can do things like change the color of your hair. You can do things like travel to different nations, travel to different states, take road trips, see if living in a different city brings you a sense of fulfillment. Making incremental micro changes in your life to see if that increases your sense of happiness or your sense of well-being, and puts you on a path where you're bumping into other people, and these little micro changes are triggering a chain of events that might land you in a position of being in purpose. So that's my little rant and my little ramble. Hopefully I wasn't going too fast, but those are just some things to consider if you are longing for purpose. If you're longing for impact but not quite sure where to start, you can be intentional by giving your focus to some of those areas. And this is just kind of off the dome kind of how my brain works, of how I think about what it looks like to live a purposeful life. So those are my thoughts for today. I always have thoughts. If this impacted you or gave you something to think about or consider from a new lens, please share this video with somebody, and like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube. I would be ever so grateful. Until the next time.